you know it's time. IAfootball is back, and we've got you covered with everything from the biggest hits to the biggest runs, from in-game highlights to post-game breakdown.
We are here talking any and all high school football.
From day one all the way to the dome, we've got you covered at IAfootball.
Welcome in, everybody. It is a Monday at IA Sports. We've got games to watch for week one. Before you skip ahead to your class and check out what I got to say about your class, I really push you to stay for this whole thing, listen to all these classes. I've also got some announcements right here that we can get going to. Nolan Kriegel is going to join us before these games to watch. I've been putting the interviews at the end. I'm going to just try and put them in the front part starting from now on. Nolan, quarterback for Iowa Valley, had 10 touchdowns in week 0. And I know an 8-man that you might shrug your shoulders and say, wow, that's got to happen all the time. No, it does not. In fact, only 4 guys before him scored 10 plus touchdowns in an 8-man game. And it hasn't been done since 2014. So 10 years approximately since the last guy to score 10 plus touchdowns in a single game. And Nolan did that. He'll join me for a few minutes before we get going. And if you're wondering, in 11-man, only 3 guys have done it. And the most recent one was in 1931. So kind of crazy that 10 plus touchdowns is just, it's not done very often. So it's pretty cool. I had him hop on with me. I also got games to watch this week and Locks and Dogs with Nick. I think we're going to record that Wednesday afternoon. I think you guys really like that. It's only for entertainment purposes. Nick and I are doing it, so you guys have something to watch and you guys have something to talk about. It's fun for Nick and I to put together. But I hope you take it with a grain of salt and that we're doing it just for your guys' entertainment. Also, as well, advertisement spots still open if you want to be the title sponsor of these shows, of the games to watch graphics, of our Saturday scoreboard graphics, whatever it may be. We want to help grow your brand alongside us so that we can keep putting resources into Iowa high school football coverage. Seems like you guys really enjoyed it. I've gotten a lot of praise and thank yous. I appreciate it. I'm not the guy to thank, though. I mean, this is my job. It's really my boss, Tony Hager. He's the one believing in me and believing in our little crew we have here at IAfootball. So all the thanks to him. We're trying to land some advertisements to be able to put more resources into this. So we appreciate you guys at least for checking this out. That's the least you can do. Happy you're here. Also, with games starting this week, I want to push you guys to not feel like you can't reach out to me if you guys have stats or something. Oh, there we go. I was showing the graphic on the other side. But yeah, I want to push you guys to DM IAfootball, especially on Instagram. That's the one I think I'm most active on, or even my personal accounts. If you guys have a crazy stat line, a school record broken, or a crazy game or a crazy clip, send it to IAfootball on Instagram. You can send it to my accounts. You can send it to our Twitter, tag us on whatever. We have a small team and we want to try and cover it all, but it's really tough to keep track of everything, especially when I'm in Iowa City on weekends with my little brother playing for the Hawkeyes. So yeah. Don't be afraid to DM us your stat lines, any highlight videos. I can't promise we're going to post them all, but I promise you if you DM us that I'm at least going to see it. So that'll help me a ton. Obviously, Friday nights, I'm at places too. I'm not sitting at home checking all the stats. I'm at a game fully focused on that. So really, when I get out of that game, I have no clue what's going on around the state, and I'm trying to catch up as much as I can, whether it's on my trip to Iowa City or on my trip home. I'm trying to catch up with everything as quickly as I can, and I got some great volunteers helping me too. I know you guys know Nick Fox. He does an incredible job, but it's tough. 7 classes is a lot for us to cover, so do not be afraid to reach out to us via DM, message, whatever it may be. If you know me personally, reach out to me. It helps us a ton, and it's not a burden at all. Don't feel like you are being a burden at all. We want to share your stuff if possible. I can't guarantee I'm going to share it all, but again, like I said, if you share it with us, you can guarantee that I'm at least gonna see it. But appreciate you guys doing that. That's my rant for today. We're already 4.5 minutes in. Let's get going. We got a lot of stuff to talk about. Welcome in, everybody, to Talk IA. Before we get to this week's games to watch, I do have a special interview coming your way right now, joined by Nolan Kriegel of Iowa Valley. Nolan, if you didn't see, Nolan in week 0 scored 10 total touchdowns in their win against BGM. Nolan, it's a crazy number. I have the stats up right now. Only four guys in eight-man history before you did that, and only three guys in 11-player history have scored 10 total touchdowns in one game. So you're part of an elite group. Was there a point
Yeah.
in the game when you kind of realized like, holy cow, like this is kind of crazy?
Yeah, during halftime, I kind of knew I had quite a few rushing touchdowns, and I kind of was like asking anybody, I'm like, "Do you guys know how many touchdowns I got?" And like nobody really knew, but I don't know. I try not to like think about how many I had because I knew that would be on my mind during the game, and I didn't really want that. But after the game, I was getting interviewed, and they said I had double digits, and I was like, "Oh, dang, I didn't know I had that big of a number." But yeah.
Obviously, being at quarterback last year, you were a dual threat guy, 1,000 passing yards, 1,000 rushing yards. This game in particular, it was eight rushing. Was there something you were seeing? What was kind of the reason for the eight rushing and the two passing? Was the rushing game just open?
Yeah, so last year it was kind of the same way. I ran the ball 30 times in the playoffs, so we kind of knew that it was probably going to work again. So and then it was working again. My coach was like, "Okay, we're just going to keep doing it until it's not working." So and it just kept working, so we just stuck with it. So yeah.
Obviously, the week zero game is tough. I mean, you're learning a lot about your team and
Mhm.
about the opponent and whatnot, and you're playing before anybody else. How'd it feel to go out there in week zero and get a big time win over a really good team in BGM?
Yeah, so we knew BGM was really good. Bo Burns, he's a really good
Yeah.
quarterback, obviously. So and we're a new team. Our line is all new except for one kid, so we kind of knew we didn't really know how it was going to go, but I don't know. They did good, and I say we performed pretty well. So I say we did better than we thought we were going to do. Yeah.
I was gonna say, I was gonna have you talk about Bo because I mean, you had 10, Bo had 9. He was really close. Was it kind of fun dueling back and forth with him? Oh,
Yeah,
oh.
he can throw a really good ball. He's good. So, I don't know. I played defense, and I was kind of talking to him after about every like couple plays, just saying, "Hey, good job!" Like, cause I don't know. Saw he had really good numbers too, cause he had a bunch of touchdowns. So I knew it was gonna be we're both gonna have a pretty impressive game. So yeah.
Yeah, and obviously last year, I mean, 7-3 for you guys. It was a really good year. Obviously, you started as a freshman. What you take away from last year, getting varsity reps as a freshman? I know that's important. And now you're in your sophomore year. You're still an underclassman, but you got all
Yeah.
that experience. You know, what'd you take away from last year into this year?
I'm definitely more confident this year in how I play and stuff, so that helps a lot too. And I kind of knew what to expect, like during the games, like what my I need to do, and yeah, and I'm now playing defense too, so it's kind of I have more responsibilities this year, so I feel more confident in my game, I say, and just how I play. So
Yeah, and I was gonna say you talk about your line being new, but really a lot of your weapons come back. I know you lose Dawson Smith; he was a solid running back for you last year, but a lot of your receiving threats are back. How's it feel to have those guys on the outside still catching passes for you? And you do lose some key guys, but you guys also returned a core group.
yeah, so I have Caleb Hawkeyes, our 6'9" wide receiver, so that's pretty easy to have him out there to throw to. But yeah, we lost Dawson Smith, but we have Chance Hoyt now, and I say he's just as good. He does just as good of a job, so that's good that we can have him come in and do just as good. That helps a lot. But yeah, it helps a lot to have a bunch of people back that because I don't know, I don't have to like change anything. They know how we each other play, and so that helps a lot too.
No doubt. Obviously, bigger goals this year than last year. 7-3 and exit in the early rounds of the playoffs. What makes you think that this team could go on a deeper run and be a threat for the dome?
Yeah, so we have Waco in 2 weeks, so that'll be a good game. I think when we play them, that'll kind of tell us how good we really are. I'd say, but yeah, I think our team has big expectations this year, and I think we can go farther than last year. So
Perfect. Well, that's all I needed. Thank you, Nolan, and good luck the rest of the
okay,
way.
thank you. Yep, thank
Perfect.
you.
Stuff to talk about. These are the games to watch in each class. I'm not going to talk about each of these because it is just me. Nick Fox couldn't join me, and it really helps when I have somebody else. And it's week one, and we don't know a lot about all these teams hearsay. But these are the graphics. Obviously, the two big games here: Audubon, Cam, and then Gladberg, Rhinebeck, and Don Bosco are your two ranked versus ranked matchups. Audubon, obviously, Aaron Olson is back. He's the cover guy right there. He's set for a big year. Cam, Been hearing stuff about a big injury. If so, hoping for a fast recovery for him. It's going to be interesting to see how that game goes and see how rankings alter after this week. Gladbach running back and Don Bosco. The Rebels took that one last year in week 1. It was a really good game. The Rebels now, obviously, a semifinalist. They lose a lot. It's going to be interesting to see who steps up for them. Don Bosco, they lose their quarterback, but they do return some top rushers in Christensen and Knack. So 8-man, those are kind of your big games. Also threw some other ones in there. But the ranked versus ranked, those are the 2 ones that we got in 8-man. Class A, really no ranked versus ranked in Class A, but the big one here, Madrid and Woodward Granger playing for a trophy. Always cool when a trophy gets involved in Iowa high school football. Battle of the Bridge. I know those teams don't really like each other. It's always fun seeing rivalries, continued in Iowa high school football. That should be a fun one. Columbus gets a shot at a ranked team a couple classes ahead of him in MIPO. I like what Columbus brings back. Obviously, Amigon gone, but they bring back some talented rushers, and that's a team that's going to run the ball a ton. Riley Kalberg is back for them. Starmont and Southwind, Wapsie Valley, Jessup, St. Ansgar and Osage, always a good game. And then Earlham as a team that got some love in our preseason poll. They got Central Decatur, who was a solid team last year. So there's your Class A games to watch. Class 1A. The big one here, Grundy Center and Dyke New Hartford. Dyke New Hartford obviously lost to Grundy Center twice last year. And Dyke's a team that brings back a lot. Grundy Center is a team that we have more questions about. Obviously, a long winning streak is on the line in that game. Grundy Center, I guess I don't have my winning streak sheet with me. I know Grundy Center has a 20-plus game winning streak. I want to say it's like 26 or something. I think it's the longest in the state of Iowa. So it's on the line. It's going to be on the line for this year. That'll be a ton of fun to follow that one. Emmitsburg and Central Lyon, Georgia Little Rock. Emmitsburg is another team that brings back a lot, a really talented sophomore class, a team that's going to run the ball a lot. Central Lyon, Georgia Little Rock. Obviously, your reigning runner-ups in Class 2A. They're all the way down to number 10. Preseason, just because we don't know. They lost a ton of talent. It's going to be interesting to see how that one goes. That one could be a game where the clock's going to be running a lot. 2 teams that really enjoy running the ball, or at least did last year. That game could go pretty quickly and be low scoring. East Buck in Sumner Fredericksburg. The Buccaneers were a semifinalist. They do lose 2,000-yard rushers last year in Thurn. I know he was a beast for them last year. Sumner Fredericksburg, this is a team that brings back some Tatum Nuss. Looks like he's going to take over at quarterback. They also return their running back. Blanking on his name right now. I went through all the teams that I was going to talk about, so it was only due time before I forgot a name. But Noah Henderson, the junior, he returned 649 yards for Sumner Fredericksburg. So Sumner returned some decent amounts. Looks like, again, like Tatum Nuss is going to take over there. Underwood and Van Meter. Van Meter, a team that lost a lot, reigning champs in their preseason number 5. And that's really just because we don't know. A lot of question marks around that team. Baumover's gone. Ben Gordon gone. Their top receivers gone as well. And then Underwood, they returned Garrett Louette at quarterback, but outside of him, a lot of weapons depart. Going to be interesting to see who steps up around him as skill players and as guys protecting him. OABCIG and Esterville Lincoln Central. OABCIG is going to be a team to watch all year just because of the power they bring back. And Jack Sajine is a big part, don't get me wrong, but Bryson Kolar was quietly one of the best quarterbacks in Class 1A all of last year. And like I said, when you got a guy like Jack Sajine, and they return plenty of weapons outside of him too, OABCIG could be a really fun team to watch. And Esterville Lincoln Central, a team where we're going to have some question marks. Owen Larson departs. He was the leading passer and leading rusher by far. Going to be interesting to see who steps up for them. Mid-Prairie and Wilton, also a game to watch in Class 1A. Moving on to 2A, as I'm rambling here. Hopefully you guys are catching up. Spirit Lake and Algona is a really interesting one. Spirit Lake returns what feels like just about everybody last year from a team that lost in the semifinals. This is a team with really high ceilings. They earned that preseason spot just because of how much they brought back. And they got Algona, who's obviously returning a ton as well. 2 of the top recruits in the state of Iowa, in fact, play for Algona. Going to be fun to watch that one. Cross-class stuff in the first 4 weeks is always fun to watch. Another cross-class matchup here. Heelan and Kemper Catholic. Heelan reigning runner-ups in Class 3A all the way down to number 8 in the preseason, just because there's a lot of question marks is what our 3A ranker, kind of thought. Obviously, Kason Thomas is set to be a huge contributor for them, and they got some key pieces back. Kemper Catholic, Brock Bating. He was probably the best returning quarterback in Class 2A. He's going to get his shot to start his campaign. Sigourney Kyoto and PCM, two teams that really enjoy running the ball. The clock's going to be ticking in that one. Adrian Robbins, the top rushing returner in the entire state of Iowa, and he was just a freshman last year. He's poised for another massive year. Cherokee Washington and MMCRU. Palstrud is back for Cherokee Washington. They've got some high praise at number 7 in Class 2A. And then MMCRU, Jonah Peterson, I believe his name, the quarterback last year. He was really solid, but he graduates, he departs. Again, some question marks there, but they sit there at number 14. Sioux Center and West Lyon, a fun one here. And in fact, West Lyon took down Sioux Center last year, a team that's a class ahead of them. West Lyon is a team that returns a lot, and they quietly sit there at number 2. But a lot of guys are back for them. Bryson Childress was a junior last year. Quarterback Tate Hoff, leading rusher for them. They're both back. West Lyon's got some high hopes. They obviously fell on that instant classic in the quarterfinals to Spirit, like right before the Dome. You know they're going to be hungry to get to Cedar Falls. Also got Des Moines Christian and Pella Christian on that list right there. Class 3A. Williamsburg is going to go to a team a few classes below them at West Branch. They're going to go to the Little Rose Bowl. I've had a chance to go to the Little Rose Bowl. That's one of the coolest high school venues. Actually, it probably is the coolest high school venue in the entire state of Iowa. Just a pristine place and a really cool place to see a game if you've never been or seen it. And pictures do not do it justice, I promise you. It's something you really just got to see in person. Solon and Assumption. Solon, you get your quarterback back, but Conlon Poyton's off to Clear Creek Amana, so they're going to look for someone to take over that rushing role. Assumption, Jake Timmons, Angelo Jackson are gone. Going to be interesting to see who steps up for them. Mount Vernon and Monticello, two teams that really lose a lot. Joey Romberg from Mount Vernon was a stud. He's gone. Monticello, obviously, they lose one of the better high school football players in the last decade in Preston Reese. He's gone. Some of his top weapons are gone. Two teams with a lot of question marks right there at 6 and 11. Still deserving of a preseason ranking. There's no doubt about that, but it's just a matter of where. Webster City and Fort Dodge also clashing, two ranked teams. You got Humboldt Spencer, and then Creston and Winterset. Creston was a semifinalist last year. They're all the way down to preseason number 15 just because of how much they lost. Keel Turner, Brendan Hayes are two tough guys to replace, but I love that coaching staff down in Creston, and I'm sure they're reloading and ready to go. Excited to see what they look like in 2024. They got a tough one in Winterset right off the get, though. 4A, let's move on to that. Lewis Central and Harlan. Feels like that game just produces instant classics year in and year out. This year, it looks like Lewis Central's favored pretty heavy, though. Preseason 4A, number 1. They do lose some guys in Curtis Whitty, Lou Allmaker. Those are some of Hetzel's guys that are gone. But the fact that Brady Hetzel's back is enough to be confident with them being preseason number 1, or at least preseason extremely high. Harlan is a team. There's some question marks around, but you know that culture in that program in Harlan are steady producers. Rarely do they need a rebuild year of some sort. Obviously, they fell in the postseason last year. Will Arkfeld's gone. Looks like Gabe Arkfeld, a younger brother, is going to step up. I guess not sure if it's younger brother, could be cousin something, but looks like another Arkfeld set to take over at Harlan. He got some reps last year. And Lucas Francis, a sophomore running back last year. I was impressed with him. I saw him in Creston. I really liked him, and then I've heard some good things about Joseph Reese. He was a freshman contributor last year. So yeah, Harlan, Lewis Central, always producing instant classics. It seems like I don't expect anything less from that one yet again. West Delaware and Western Dubuque could be a fun one. West Delaware, Yankovic is back, one of the better players in the entire state of Iowa in terms of total yardage. And then Western Dubuque, they lose Gloucester, who is one of the best running backs, obviously, in the last few years in Iowa high school football. They got Tanner Anderson back. They got some weapons back. Western Dubuque's ready to roll. Just a matter of who's gonna get those carries. Waverly Shellrock and Xavier. Xavier lost a good amount. Waverly Shellrock, a team that likes running the ball. They're going to be set and ready to go. Preseason number 13. They return their quarterback in Wesley Hubbard, and Ethan Bibler also returns as a 1,000-yard back. So Waverly Shellrock's got some pieces back for them. Bonnarant for our North Polk Raccoon River Conference matchup in the football season. Jordan Riles back under center for Bonnarant Farrar. They do lose some contributors though. They had a really good team last year. They lose some guys. Going to be interesting to see who steps up as Riles contributors. North Polk as well. BJ Tate's back and running the ball. They do lose quarterback Isaac Zosky. It'll be curious to see who takes over under center for them. Pella and Ballard obviously taking center stage as well. And then Glenwood and Sioux City East. That one is on Thursday in Sioux City. Should be fun to follow. Class 5A. Feels like every week in Class 5A, we just got ranked matchups after ranked matchups. That is no different here. Valley and Southeast Polk. This is one of the games I'm weighing on going to. I haven't decided where I'm going yet, but I got Nick Fox, I got a bunch of photographers in some places, so it'll be interesting to see where we all go. Valley, Southeast Polk, I mean, just should be a ton of fun. A lot of firepower there, and Southeast Polk again taking a long winning streak on the line into the season. Going to be fun to see how they defend that this year. Ankeny Centennial, yeah, you always know what to expect here. Ankeny Centennial loses more pieces on offense and defense per se. That's probably why they drop a little bit in the preseason rankings. Ankeny obviously returning more. We know more about them. That's likely why they land at number 2, and obviously being runner-ups last year, that definitely helps. 2 1,000-yard backs for Ankeny return as well. Kennedy and Dowling, this was a fun one last year. It was on a Saturday at Kingston. Now they get a Friday night stage at Valley Stadium. Obviously Kennedy with Vinny Gianforte, one of the better quarterbacks in all of Class 5A. He's back, and Dowling Catholic returns Rashad Davis. Obviously, they lose quarterback. They lose some key pieces, but you got a steady guy in Davis ready to carry a load. Waukee and Ames square off. You obviously got Bettendorf and Pleasant Valley. That should be a ton of fun. And then Johnston and Waukee Northwest. So 6 ranked matchups, including 3 of them with top 7 teams. Should be a ton of fun. Drop a comment if I didn't put a game on here that you think could be a really good game. I love keeping track of those non-ranked versus non-ranked matchups that are going to be really good. But yeah, that's what I came up with. Those are the teams, the games of the week that I put out there. So appreciate you guys for tuning in. Again, drop a comment. Don't be afraid. Go follow us on IAfootball on all socials: Facebook, Twitter, X. Subscribe on YouTube. If you hit that little bell on our homepage on YouTube on your phone, it'll send you notifications whenever we post. So you don't miss a thing. Appreciate you guys for joining. Catch us. It'll probably be Wednesday afternoon when Locks and Dogs come out. That's always a ton of fun. So catch us then, and I'll see you next time, IAfootball fans.